Hey everyone, my name is Jason Ruger, and I'm work for Fit Small Business. And if you're here for the Chart of Accounts webinar, then you are in the right place. I am not the finance expert. I'm just kind of the tech guy who's making sure all this runs right. This is Crystalline. Crystalline is going to be running the presentation here. She's the one with all of the finance experience, and she'll tell you a little bit more about her background here when we get started. But thanks everyone for joining us. We're going to wait a minute or two to kind of get everyone in the room here who's interested. A couple quick housekeeping things before we get started. We won't be taking questions at the end just because of the nature of how complicated sometimes like accounting questions can be and unique to each business. But we will be giving you an opportunity to go and check out our forum on our site where you can ask any question, and Crystalline's going to monitor that and be answering any questions there afterwards more specifically. And if there are any basic questions during the webinar, I'll probably be answering some of those in the chat box, but there will probably be quite a few that I won't get to, and quite a few you probably wouldn't want me answering because I'm not a qualified person to answer them. But Crystalline is, and so that's why the forum is a great place to follow up on that, and we'll be giving you an opportunity to do that. So we're excited that everyone is here. While we're waiting just a minute or two for everyone else to get in here, where are you guys from? What are your names and what businesses are you running currently or looking to run? Cool. So it looks like we have Jenny from Detroit who has a floral shop. So that's exciting. I'll have to see. It'd be interesting. Jenny, do you do like weddings and everything, or just kind of more general flower sales? Oh, cool. So she does weddings, events, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's
Very
awesome.
cool. Awesome. Well, I actually have Jason Chris. He is from Orange County, California,
Cool.
and he has a really cool business. He actually owns a Yogurtland shop.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
that's pretty cool.
Franchising all the way. My brother lives
Exactly.
in LA, so
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Abby and I have, my wife and I have gone down there several times to visit. It's a fun place, fun atmosphere. So,
Nice.
um, yeah. Well, we're 2 or 3 minutes in here, guys, so I think we'll probably go ahead and get started. There will be probably some people jumping in and out, but that'll be fine. You know, stay for however long you can. If you have to leave, we'll be sending you some follow-up emails with some additional resources, which Crystalline will talk about a little bit more. But so I'm going to hand it over to Crystalline.
Thanks, Jason. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our Fit Small Business Bookkeeping webinar series. As Jason said, my name is Crystalline Shelton, and I will be your instructor for today. So I want to start out by just telling you a little bit about myself before we dive into our topic for today. I am a staff writer at Fit Small Business, and I'm primarily responsible for the accounting and bookkeeping section of our website, which we're going to check out later on during the webinar. Prior to Fit Small Business, I was a senior trainer for Intuit. And so those of you that are familiar with QuickBooks, that's the company that distributes QuickBooks. So I worked for them for 3 years. And prior to that, I was like many of you, I owned my own small business, and it was a consulting and training business, which I ran for 3 years. So I know exactly what it's like to be in each of your shoes. So before we dive into our topic for today, which is the chart of accounts, I know some of you are probably short on time. And so I want to go ahead and have Jason put in the chat window for you. One of the things that we want to do is share with you the small business accounting software that we recommend. It's QuickBooks, and we're going to actually dive into QuickBooks later on in the webinar. But we've got a really cool offer going on right now. It's a 30-day free trial, and you can actually check it out. And so Jason will pop that in the chat window for you, and that's for those of you that are going to have to run before the webinar is over. So with that said, we will go ahead and get started. All right. All right, presentation. You can pop up any second. Hey, Jason, let me know when you can see the presentation.
Yep, we're good to go.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So the chart of accounts is the backbone of your bookkeeping system. Basically, the chart of accounts, just defined, is a systematic way to categorize your daily business transactions. So, for example, invoicing customers, paying your bills, and making deposits with your bank. I like to typically describe the chart of accounts as a 5-drawer filing cabinet. So in our illustration here, each drawer represents an account type, and there are 5. So starting from the left, we've got assets, liabilities, owner's equity, income, and expenses. So let's talk about each of these. The first one is the assets. Assets are basically items that your business has in its possession. So some of the examples that we've got here are a checking account, your inventory that you purchase that you're going to sell to your customers, and equipment that you use in your business. So for example, computers or copiers. The second category, liabilities, that's basically money that your business owes to other people. So for example, if you have a car that you use for business and you're making payments on that vehicle, then an auto loan would be considered a liability. Let's say maybe you have a building where you keep your inventory and you're paying a monthly mortgage. That would be considered a liability as well. And then finally, sales tax payable is also considered a liability. And that's because that sales tax money is owed to the state. The third account type is owner's equity. Owner's equity is pretty much everything that your business owns. So for example, we've got owner invested funds, and that's basically any money that you've invested in your business. And retained earnings is more of an accounting term. That just means it's basically your net income or loss in the business since you first opened your doors. And so all 3 of these, assets, liabilities, and owner's equity, can be found on the balance sheet report. And we're going to take a look at the balance sheet report a little bit later on in this webinar. The last 2 account types, income, is the proceeds from the sale of products or services. So for example, bookkeeping services or consulting services. If you sell products, maybe you sell computers or any type of product that you might sell to your customer would fall in this category as income. And then finally, expenses. Expenses are items that you pay to run your day-to-day business operations. So for example, here we've got advertising expense. And so that would be something like maybe a website that you have for your business, office supplies, and then the last one there is payroll, which can be a pretty large expense for small business owners that have employees. Now, income and expenses can be found on the profit and loss statement, also known as the income statement, which we'll also take a look at a little bit later on. So now, just to keep things simple when you're setting up accounts, I want to share a few tips with you that I think would be helpful. So tip number 1, less is more. So what do I mean by that? Basically, that means only set up accounts that you need and no more. In my experience, if you set up too many accounts, it's just going to take you that much longer to enter transactions into your accounting software because you have to scroll through such a long list before you can get to the account that you need. A good rule of thumb is if you need the ability to keep an eye on a particular expense, then setting up a separate account can be good because you can run a report in about 30 seconds in an accounting software like QuickBooks Online to quickly get the information that you need. So let's take a look at a couple of examples of this tip. So you want to make sure that you don't set up an account for every single product and service that you sell. What you want to do instead is set up accounts separate accounts to track your product sales separately from your services. So some examples of account names that you can use here would be sales from products, sales from services, consulting income if you provide that service, and design income. Most accounting software programs like QuickBooks allow you to set up a products and services list. So instead of having these items listed out on your profit and loss or your balance sheet reports, you can run sales reports to analyze your products and services. The second tip I'd like to share with you is keep it generic. So you never want to create an account using customer or vendor names. One of the things that I've seen people do is create accounts specifically like this. So for example, they might set up an account called Staples or Office Depot to keep track of office supply expense. Remember that any account that you set up in the chart of accounts will appear on either the profit and loss statement or your balance sheet report. Vendor and customer names do not belong on these financial statements. So this is the main reason why you don't want to set them up as accounts. So our examples here are, instead of creating specific accounts for customer or vendor names, you want to create generic accounts like office supplies and gasoline. By setting up the accounts this way, you can keep track of office supplies not only purchased at Staples or Office Depot, but other places, right, like Target or Co. If you want to know how much you have spent with a vendor like Staples or Shell, then you should set these companies up as vendors in your accounting software. This will allow you to run a report to see how much you have spent with each vendor. Tip number 3, you want to make sure that you select the correct account type. So remember, if you recall, each drawer in our filing cabinet represents one of the 5 account types: assets, liabilities, owner's equity, income, and expenses. It's very important that you use the correct account type when adding a new account to your chart of accounts list. As I mentioned previously, the account type determines which financial statement the account will appear on: profit or loss statement and balance sheet. If you set up an account and use the wrong account type, then the account will appear on the wrong financial statement. So this will obviously cause your financial statements to be incorrect. Now let's take a look at a profit and loss statement. The profit and loss statement is also known as the income statement, so you may have heard that term as well. Basically, this statement shows the profitability of a business for a period of time. In the example that we have here, the time period is January 1st through September 29th, 2016. The profit and loss statement summarizes your income items and your expense items. The difference between your income and expenses equals the bottom line net income for the business. A positive number here indicates that the business was profitable. And so in this example, we actually have a net income of $2,200.53. So this business, Paul's Plumbing Company, was profitable during this time frame. A negative number indicates that the business was not profitable during this time frame. Now let's take a look at the balance sheet report. The balance sheet report shows the net worth of a business as of a point in time. So notice the difference right away in terms of time period. Our profit and loss statement that we just looked at had a from date and a to date. This particular report only has one date because it is as of a point in time. So as of that date, this is the status of your assets, liabilities, and equity in the business. So it summarizes your assets at the very top of the report and totals those. And then at the bottom of the report, we've got a summary of the liabilities and the equity. And so this report gets its name basically because it's the assets always equal liabilities plus equity. So the highlighted area where it says total assets, you'll notice it's 17,976.72. That number equals the bottom line number here that says total liabilities and equity. And so this report gets its name because those two always remain in balance. Now you can quickly run a profit and loss statement or a balance sheet report in under 2 minutes in QuickBooks Online. And that's another advantage to using QuickBooks Online for your business. The great thing about using accounting software like QuickBooks Online is when you set up a new account, the program has examples and other great tips in the setup window to help you choose the right account. So now I'm going to demonstrate to you how easy it is to set up a new account in QuickBooks Online. So Jason, can you see my screen yet?
Yep, we're good to go.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so for those of you that don't use QuickBooks, this is the dashboard of QuickBooks Online. And so for our demonstration today, we'll be using our fictitious company, Pulse Plumbing. And so one of the things that you'll notice right off the bat is on your dashboard, you might have tasks just to remind you of some things that you may need to do. You're going to have some information on your invoices, your expenses, and your bank accounts. So this is sort of the landing page in QuickBooks Online. So don't forget, we have a great offer for you guys to sign up for a free 30-day trial, no credit card required, to try this product out, which I highly recommend. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and see, let's go ahead and navigate to the chart of accounts. So this particular icon is called a gear. So you want to click on the gear icon, and right underneath the Your Company column, you should see the option that says Chart of Accounts. So we'll go ahead and open that up. Give that a chance to load. All right. So one of the things I definitely want to point out to you is one of the things I love about QuickBooks is it is definitely the non-accountant's program. And what I mean by that is you don't need an accounting background or even a CPA to use the product. It's very user-friendly, and we've got a terrific QuickBooks course that I'll show you later on our website that will teach you not only how to set up your QuickBooks, but how to use it day to day to run your business. So the chart of accounts is one of those areas where QuickBooks will create a basic chart of accounts for you based on your industry. And then you have the ability to add new accounts to customize it more for your business. Okay. And so with that said, we'll go ahead and click on this new button and set up an account so you can see how easy it is. So the first field here, category type, from the drop down is actually our account types that we've been talking about. And so it's important that you select the correct account type. As I've mentioned, we're going to go ahead and set up an expense account. And the detail type field also is important for QuickBooks. So here we will go ahead and select automobile, because basically the expenses we'll be writing off is gas to fuel our car for business purposes, right? And so when you do that, QuickBooks will automatically populate the name field with the detail type, but you can actually change that. I'm going to change that to gas. In the description field, you can either put the same name as you have in this field, or you can actually put something like to track fuel purchases. So it's up to you. But I do recommend that you put something in this field and don't leave it blank, because when you run your reports, it just looks really odd if this field is blank. So I just recommend you put something in here just to make your reports look professional. This field here that says is sub-account, this is if you wanted to make this account related to another account that you have set up. So let's say, for example, maybe I wanted gasoline to go underneath my auto account, then I would make it a sub-account, but we'll go ahead and leave that field blank for now. And so that's it. You complete these fields, and then you can just say save and close. And then it saves the account. And we can actually sort this and go ahead and take a look and see that our new account gas is on our chart of accounts list here. And here it is, ready to go. So that's how easy it is to set up an account on the chart of accounts list in QuickBooks. So one of the other things that I wanted to share with you, I know that many of you are avid readers of ours, and so thank you for supporting our website. But for those of you that are brand new to Fit Small Business, I wanted to just give you some insight into the resources that are available here on our website. And then I also want to share with you how you can actually access our QuickBooks course. So this is our website, Fit Small Business. On the left here are the various categories that you can find a ton of great resources and articles on. If you scroll down, I am a little bit partial to the accounting section, as you might guess. This is the section that I'm responsible for. And so if you click on accounting, it will bring up a lot of the accounting articles that we have on the website, that they're organized in different groups. So on this particular page, we've got the most popular articles here on the left. And on the right, you'll see the latest articles that have been published for the accounting section. And then if you scroll down, we've got a business taxes section, which is awesome. And again, we've got the most popular articles here on the left. And we've got our latest articles that have been published here on the right. So a ton of great information on bookkeeping and taxes. QuickBooks training here is a section that I want to focus on because we've got our 39 free QuickBooks Online tutorials that I want to share with you. So this is a free course to you. There are 39 video tutorials here that start with setting up your QuickBooks for your business. And actually we have various categories to go through showing you how to manage your business. So the first lesson is setting up QuickBooks. And one thing I want to point out to you right away is if you need a refresher on how to set up accounts in QuickBooks, we have a video tutorial here that says how to set up the chart of accounts. It's only 6 minutes and 36 seconds long. The nice thing about our video tutorials is if you're a visual person, the video is fantastic, right? Because it goes through and we show you step by step how to create an account on the chart of accounts like I just showed you. But if you're a person that likes to read, like myself, then we also have written instructions here and a lot more information on the chart of accounts so that you can have a better understanding of how it works. So you've got a video and you've also got written instructions, and that's for every single one of our tutorials here. And one of the other things I'd love to point out to you is the offer that I mentioned to you about the 30-day free trial is actually available here on every video tutorial. So if you lose the link that we send to you or forget how to access that free trial, you can do that directly on our website from any of the tutorials that we have here. All right, so I think that is all I wanted to share with you on the actual website. And let me just dive back into my presentation here. And we'll do a wrap up because I know some of you are short on time. And I totally get it with the business owners. You guys are wearing multiple hats. But before you go, I definitely want to share some additional resources with you. So the first one is our website. And you will receive a copy of this presentation. And so our website is here in case you forget. In addition to that, I've added a link to these 3 resources here. We've got the free QuickBooks course, which I just showed you. We actually have a free Zero course, and that is another accounting software that is giving QuickBooks, some good competition. So we've got a whole course on Zero as well. It's absolutely free for those of you that are interested in a QuickBooks alternative. And then the third resource here is the Small Business Bookkeeping and Accounting Guide. And so, as I mentioned at the beginning, you absolutely don't need to be a CPA or an accounting expert to use QuickBooks. But it is important for you to have some basic bookkeeping knowledge and understanding. And so, our business bookkeeping guide would be great for you to kind of sort of brush up on those basic topics like assets and liabilities and debits and credits, just to get a better understanding of what those things mean. So with that said, I know those of you who've had questions throughout the presentation have been putting those in the chat window, so thank you very much. At the end of this webinar, we're going to actually direct you to our forum. And we have an awesome forum on our website where we have a lot of small business owners, we've got CPAs, we've got professional accountants that visit our site often and ask questions and help answer questions that small business owners like yourself have. So I'll be on the forum answering questions as well. So feel free, if you didn't get a chance to ask your question in the webinar, don't worry. We've got you covered and we're going to continue the conversation. Just head over to our forum to post your question. So at this time, I want to thank each of you for taking the time out to join our bookkeeping webinar series. Again, you'll receive a copy of the presentation deck, and also don't forget to sign up for your free 30-day trial of QuickBooks. Check it out. You have nothing to lose. So again, thanks so much, and we look forward to having you at the next webinar.